Introducing the Champion's Mindset, the podcast that gives your inner game a serious upgrade. Join internationally renowned mindset and performance expert, KATHRYN Orford.
Hi there, friends. It's KATHRYN here, back with another dive into the human side of high performance. Today, I want to talk about more than wins, losses, stats, all that good stuff. Let's talk about what's really happening behind the scenes. The mindset moments, the quiet victories, and the emotional breakthroughs that don't always make it onto those highlight reels. We'll meet some athletes, both male and female, whose stories right now are shaping how we think about strength, vulnerability, purpose, and resilience. From football to softball to basketball to leadership, off the field as well as on the field or on the court, these stories are really powerful reminders that the champion's mindset isn't just about what to do, it's about who you become. So let's lean in. Now, Carson Beck is a Miami football player. Let's start with a story that has been all over the headlines. He was Georgia's starting quarterback, projected to be a top NFL draft pick. But after an elbow injury and months of uncertainty, he actually shocked the sports world by transferring to Miami instead of turning pro. Now, reports say that he signed an NIL deal worth somewhere between $3 and $4 million. Can you believe it? These NIL deals are getting bigger and bigger. But here's a moment that really struck me. After Miami upset a win against Notre Dame, Beck broke down in tears during the post-game interview. He said, "The past 8 months have been so hard, and I'm just so blessed to be out here. I love these guys." So let's take a little look at a clip.
Carson, I just saw a lot of emotion out of you celebrating this win. Where is that coming from?
Oh man, shit. The past 8 months has been so hard. And I'm just so blessed to be out here to have an opportunity to play again. Man, I love these guys. I'm so proud of the way we played. We played so hard. In the face of adversity, we got it done when we needed to. Oh man, I'm just so blessed and so thankful to have an opportunity to play this game I love.
You said that this team taught you to love football again. How does this group, this offense, bring out the best in you?
Man, everyone just loves to compete. It's a real family. It's a real brotherhood. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. There's so many emotions. I'm so thankful for the guys that I have around me. I'm so thankful for the way that they work day in and day out. I mean, early mornings, late nights, it doesn't matter. And then we come out here and we execute when it's time, when it matters.
Man, think about that. This is a young man who has money, fame, and opportunity, yet he's still overwhelmed by the journey. And that's the lesson. Money and headlines don't erase pressure, they magnify it. What keeps you grounded is mindset, resilience, connection, and being surrounded by teammates who feel like family. Now, let's contrast that with a story from women's college basketballer Hailey Van Lith. She's a guard for TCU and has been brutally honest about her struggles. She admitted that just a couple of years ago, she was battling suicidal thoughts and relying on heavy medication, even while she was performing at a high level on the court. What changed? Therapy, faith, and a sports psychologist, and a realization after the tragic passing of Stanford's Katie Meyer that she needed to seek help and rebuild her life from the inside out. Today, Van Lith plays with a joy that is so infectious, and she speaks openly about her journey. Her courage to share her story reframes strength, not as stoicism, but as honesty, as authenticity. The lesson? Success can mask deep pain, but vulnerability is the bridge to healing. And that takes a mindset shift that the entire sports world needs to hear. Let's have a little look at a clip with Haley.
Fans cheered as the women's basketball team left for Alabama today to play in the Sweet 16 this weekend. Been quite a journey for the team, and along the way, star player Haley Van Lith revealed a personal and emotional issue she wanted to make public. Fox 4 Stephen Dial live on the TCU campus with more. Stephen.
The TCU's women's basketball team is having a historic season. Star player Haley Van Lith has been in this position before, but she's choosing this tournament to talk about something personal, mental health and depression.
That's what I mean when I speak on suffering and pain. Is like I didn't even want to live. So like to come from that to this is incredible.
That was TCU star Haley Van Lith on Sunday, moments after making school history, winning in the second round of the NCAA tournament. With her team in the spotlight, she opened up about her battle with depression and suicidal thoughts. The conversation continued in the locker room.
When I was younger and in college, I was suicidal. I was heavily medicated, and I felt trapped, and I didn't. And you would never know because I was having a ton of success on the court, but internally and in life in general, like I was ready to be done.
Yes. Oh, honestly, Beck's tears and courage both remind us pressure doesn't discriminate, but mindset determines how you rise. I can personally relate to this story because, as some of you know, about 35 years ago, just the other day, I was feeling suicidal. I was ready to take my life. And really, when I chose life and I chose to never allow anyone to rob me of my self-esteem and self-worth ever again, that's when the real work began. And I do say that the breaking of me was the making of me. So if you have anything challenging going on in your life today, just realize the way that we grow and become the people that we are meant to be on this planet is by actually navigating all of these setbacks. And just like Haley, the level of joy and just joy for life, really, and appreciation that I am still here is what gets me up every single morning. Let's move on into the world of professional basketball for a moment, because this story is too good not to share. Julius Randle, the New York Knicks star, has been very open recently about reinventing himself, not just as a player, but as a person. He admitted that marijuana was clouding his clarity, saying it felt like it was stealing his soul. So he made the tough choice to quit. Then he leaned into therapy, specifically EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is often used to help people heal from trauma. On top of that, he rebuilt his pre-game rituals. He started crafting routines that grounded him mentally before he ever steps on the hardwood. Again, here's where the mindset piece comes in. He describes himself now as a Mamba disciple, drawing from Kobe Bryant's legacy. But it's not just about Kobe's fire to compete. It's about discipline, clarity, aligning mind, body, and spirit. And here's the truth. Reinvention doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you recognize that something in your life is not serving you anymore, and you make that conscious choice to replace it with habits that do. Now, let's talk about the women's side of basketball. There is Paige Beckers. Now, she's rewriting what it means to be influential. She's often called the face of NIL in women's basketball. She signed huge endorsement deals, including her own Nike shoe. But here's what I love. Paige is intentional. She works with financial advisors to build long-term security, and she's invested in her community through her foundation. She's tackling food insecurity and social justice. So what does that tell us? Paige isn't just focused on the spotlight. She's using her platform with purpose. She reminds us that success without values is empty. Influence means nothing if it isn't grounded in something bigger than yourself. And that's a mindset lesson for all of us. Confidence comes from being unstoppable when it's anchored in your purpose. So, whether it's Julius Randle rewriting his rituals or Paige Becker's using her influence for impact, both remind us reinvention isn't just about performance, it's actually about purpose. Now, moving on. I'm probably going to upset this poor man because I hope I don't upset him, but I hope I pronounce his name correctly. Tomas Jokamara. Jokamara is an Albany football player. Now, let's talk about leadership in a very different way. Tomas, a safety at the University of Albany, stepped away from football for a few years ago while at Temple to focus on his mental health. He was dealing with personal and family struggles, and he turned to therapy to get the help he needed. Fast forward to today, he's not only back on the field, he's become a vocal leader in the locker room. He shares his story openly with teammates, encouraging them to seek help when they need it. If they're struggling, that's his message. So in a sport that so often equates toughness with silence, Joe is proving that vulnerability is actually leadership. He's changing the culture of his team by creating space for others to be honest. And that's a powerful mindset shift, folks. Mental health isn't separate from athletic performance. It's the foundation of it. Now, then we have a Texas Tech softball player, and that her name is Naijuri Kennedy. I think I've pronounced it properly. Please forgive me if I haven't. A name you're going to hear far more and more often. She's a softball phenomena at Texas Tech who just signed her second NIL deal worth over $1 million. That's the largest in softball history. Now, on the field, she's practically unhittable, leading her team to championships with a record low ERA. Off the field, she's carrying the weight of being a trailblazer. She's not just representing herself, she's paving the way for every girl who dreams of making it big in a sport that hasn't always gotten the recognition it deserves. And here's a mindset piece. Being a pioneer is heavy. It comes with critics, scrutiny, and massive expectations. But she's staying grounded, focused on her craft while handling the responsibility of being a role model with grace. She teaches us that when your mindset is anchored in purpose and preparation, you can thrive even when the world is watching. Now, Joe leads with vulnerability. Kennedy leads by breaking ceilings that have been there for women's sport for eons. Different stories, but the same truth. Mindset underpins everything. So let's recap, shall we? Carson Beck reminded us that money and fame doesn't erase pressure, they magnify it. And you've got to have the groundedness and the mindset to cope with that. Hailey Van Lith showed us that vulnerability is strength, not weakness. Julius Randle taught us that reinvention takes courage and new rituals. Paige Becker's modeled influence grounded in values. And Tomas redefined leadership through honesty. And Naijari proved that trailblazing is possible when you stay anchored in purpose. And here's what I want to leave you with today. The real scoreboard isn't just about points, stats, or trophies. It's about who you're becoming in the process. Are you choosing results or are you building resilience? Because boy, oh boy, if you want to land a college scholarship or earlier days, if you want to be in that varsity team, you are going to need resilience. You're not going to win every time in that game or that race or that event. Are you hiding your struggles or are you harnessing your vulnerability? I know this firsthand, folks. Honestly, back then, all those years ago, I heard the saying that vulnerability was power, but I didn't really get it until I had to reach out and say, I'm not okay. And it was my beautiful students' parents, two beautiful mums of my performing arts school parents, that were there for me in my darkest hour. And up until then, I don't know about you, but I was putting on my superwoman cape and I was pretending I was okay when I was far from okay. So vulnerability is power. Are you focused only on influence or are you grounded in your purpose? And if you don't know what your purpose is yet, if you're really young and you don't know what it is, just keep doing what brings you joy and the rest will unfold. Honestly, did I know as a 16-year-old in school that I was going to, after I'd rebuilt my life when I was feeling suicidal, that I'd write all these books, that one would be a bestseller, the ones behind me here, it made #1 in 5 categories on Amazon and #2 on self-help. Did I know I would meet Oprah? Did I know I'd be living in the US? Did I know that I'd be interviewed on every major TV network across the US? I didn't know any of those things at 16. Okay, I had no idea what I was going to be doing in the world. So if you're really young and you're going, I don't know what my purpose is, Kathryn, just do what you love to do. For those of you that have listened to previous podcasts, I shared that, I announced at 16 that I wanted to be a professional dancer, but I was only studying jazz and tap and demi-character, and I knew that I needed my ballet. So I needed to venture into a big city school. I was kind of like a big fish in a little pond. Can you relate? And my mum said, darling, you're going to need to go in and study ballet in a big school. So I get there, I'm super excited, and I go, I'm going to be a professional dancer. I don't want to be a ballerina. First of all, I was too tall and I didn't want to be a ballerina. I wanted to be a commercial dancer. And she put me in with 8-year-olds. I couldn't understand a word of what they were saying in French. Even though I was studying French back in school, it was not the French that was happening in that room, I got to tell you. So I did what I thought, like I just copied, and I thought I did really well. Well, this horrible battle axe of a woman pulled me into her office afterwards. And I said, she put me with 8-year-olds. So you can imagine, I'm 5'11" now, which is 180 centimeters for those of you in Europe. And by 16, I was probably only an inch or so below that. She put me in with 8-year-olds. So I felt like this giant with all these little fairies running around, right? She pulled me into her office and I said, do you think how did I go? Can I go up to the next age group? And she put her hands on her hips and she looked at me like this and she goes, well, let's face it, darling. You're too old. You're too tall. You've got flat feet. You don't have enough turnout in your hip socket. You might as well forget it. What did she mean, forget it? I knew I had a dancer inside, and I knew I needed to get up to about elementary level in ballet to become a professional dancer. My dad was a former Australian cycling champion, so after sobbing all the way home, he said, darling, you just haven't found the right school yet. So I get the courage and I ring and I sort out another class to do. 3 times I got told the same thing, folks. So I gave up on my dream, but as fate would have it, my dream didn't give up on me. I met a guy out in Australia on a working holiday and we fell in love. I followed him to London. That didn't work. And I went, I might as well do a dance class while I'm here. So I picked up the phone and I asked this lovely lady that had Una Billings TV School of Dance in Hammersmith if I could come and do some casual classes. So I go to do the casual classes And she pulled me aside after a couple of weeks and she said, I was Kathy back then, and she says, Kathy, you should try out for full time. Guess what I recited back to her? All the negatives, all of the boxes that I had been put in. I said, oh no, I'm too old, I'm too tall, I've got flat feet and I don't have enough turnout. And she said, you've got to be kidding me. You've got the height, you've got the body, you've got the musicality, you've got the stage presence, you've got the style, you've got the flexibility. All we've got to do is work on your ballet. She organized private lessons with Fernand Monet. Now, Fernand was a ballet master for the Royal Ballet in London when they went on tour. I got to have private lessons with him. 6 months later, I turned professional. So if you're 16, 17 or younger and someone has told you you can't do something and you know in your heart that that's what you're meant to be doing with your life, guess what? Don't let people put you in those boxes and labels, because they will try to. You've got to break free of those boxes and just stay on the course. Just stay on the course, because just like me, I had given up on my dream, but as fate would have it, it didn't give up on me. So here's what I want to leave you with is all of those people that we watch today, they learnt that they needed to be vulnerable. They learnt that they needed to work on their mindset. They understood that there were going to be lots of road bumps. There were going to be injuries. There are lots of things that they were going to, if they really wanted that dream, they were going to have to keep on pursuing it, because that's a champion's mindset. And it's available to you, to me, and every single one of us, not just elite athletes. So thank you for leaning in today. I'd love to hear which story resonated with you the most. Reach out on social, share this episode, or leave me a note. And until next time, keep going with heart and clarity and purpose. And stay tuned, because in a moment you're going to get a tip on how to download a free ebook, which is something that I would love to give you as a gift from me to you. So thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you next week when I'll be interviewing a really interesting man. Ciao for now. Mental performance mastery for basketball success is not just about basketball success. It's about success in any sport you're playing or even in life. In it, I share my champion's mindset, which is the inner game. It's the inner game of winning. And I do hope you enjoy it. Download a free copy and let me know what you think.
Thanks for watching The Champion's Mindset with KATHRYN Orford. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.